from Boston University Center for Digital Imaging Arts. This is the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And in this episode, we are going to discuss the Independent Film Festival Boston 2010, which we are both very much looking forward to, which starts on the 21st, this coming Wednesday. And they have a ton of good stuff.
You psyched?
I'm very psyched.
Yeah.
I'm very psyched. I liked your idea about, there's a ton of films here, but, we can take it day by day. You choose a film, like in our case, we've seen a few of the films.
Right.
But
right.
Most of them we haven't. So in this case, we're going to say, we'll choose for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and one film for each day, the one we want to see that we haven't. Mm-hmm. But then we're also going to talk about the films we have seen.
And I'm mainly making my choices from the program that the fine folks at the festival put out. Just reading their little narratives, going on their website. There's some trailers and stuff. Just a gut reaction. That's some of these things are given. On there. If you see a celebrity or a director or someone you like, some of them are just a crapshoot. I've got one here that's an absolute crapshoot. It's not till later, but I was just like, I'm going to see this.
This is for Wednesday?
No, later on. Wednesday we don't have much choice.
Yeah,
the opening night film.
Right.
Which is
freaking Scott.
Oh, it's The Extra Man with Paul Dano and Kevin Kline.
Right.
And Kevin Kline's getting an award. He's getting the IFFBoston's Career Achievement Award. And included in that award is, of course, being married to Phoebe Cates, which we all know he deserves some credit for, and we all know why.
Jesus,
in fact, I want to play that car song right now.
When did he marry her? Like in the late 80s?
I hope it was right after Fast Times. That's what made me want to marry her, was her getting out of the pool at Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Iconic.
Yeah. And I'm sure if there's anyone out there who doesn't know what we're talking about, stop listening right now. Go rent Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And
how could anybody not?
Is that who's the
Judd Reinhold?
Judge Reinhold. You can do your own Judge Reinhold impersonation while you watch the movie. But anyway, Kevin Kline's coming in, and it's funny. I like the guy as an actor. I'm glad he's getting an award.
I'm still on it. Couldn't have been right after Fast Times. I think it was late 80s.
Really?
Yeah, I think. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they worked on a film together. I don't recall what it was, but it was sometime after Silverado.
He's a lucky man.
He is a lucky man. Okay,
but
back to what
we're supposed to be talking about. See how distracting that is? Here's the funny thing: if there was another option opening night, I would probably go to the other movie. This doesn't sound interesting to me at all. But because, and again, this is from the pamphlet. It's Kevin Kline is Paul Dano is a writer. Kevin Kline is an older writer who makes his living as an escort to the elderly ladies. And this is a quote from the program. It's indelible, amusingly oddball, and distinctly urban encounters. Not my kind of thing. It could be a great movie, but based on that, I'm more psyched to see what Kline will say.
I got the same kind of feeling about it. But you know what? I've been surprised by many of these... when you see a film at a festival and you don't get the, you're not all jazzed up from the pre-movie marketing that you get on most films.
Right.
And, that's the surprise aspect of the festival is terrific. In other words, you are the PR, John. You see the movie, you tell them how much you liked it, and I have to.
That could not be your phone.
Is
it Jared? He wants a sub.
It's Jared.
Just hang up on him. Sorry, Jared. So anyway, opening night, there's an opening night party, I assume?
Unbelievable. There is. At Orleans, and the opening night party at the IFFB is always fun.
Yeah, because there's a lot of filmmakers, there's other film fans. It's just good to be with film people and, have a couple cocktails and talk about movies.
It is. I think, what was the opening film? Was it Trans-Siberian last year?
I don't remember. It's all a blur.
It is all a blur. But... you get to meet some great people at those parties, and always fun.
All right, so we've survived opening night. We're a little hungover on Thursday, the 22nd. What are you going to go see on Thursday, Steve?
Cyrus.
What is that?
That's the Duplass Brothers film.
The Huba?
With John C. Reilly.
Who's the Dukas brothers?
Duplass Brothers, man. The Duplass Brothers.
Who are they?
Puffy Chair. Baghead.
Baghead?
Movies made by cell phone.
Yeah. And you're going, what's this one about?
As you would say. But
is it about a baghead in a puffy chair?
The Duplass Brothers do terrific stuff.
Okay.
I mean, you can see their short films on their website, but like I guess it was maybe 4 years ago, I saw a screening of The Puffy Chair at Harvard, and it had a introduction by one of the
Bernie and Phil?
one of the lecturers there gave people there gave an introduction,
right,
to the a collection of their shorts, and they made a couple of really riveting short films, and The Puffy Chair. At the time I saw it, I thought it was, man, that was the cutting edge for the time. That was it. That was
how long ago was this?
Probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
And the guy who gave the speech, whose name I can't remember, had said that these guys have a future in filmmaking. This is where it's going, and they have our support, and they've done some stuff. I mean, since then they made Baghead and now Cyrus. And
what's it about? Cyrus?
Also, Mark Duplass starred in Hump Day. So he was also in.
Seeing that movie.
So he was also in Hannah Takes the Stairs. So he's kind of like a, getting to be well known. He has a TV series now.
Called.
I don't remember the name. It's on FX. I forget.
Okay.
But Cyrus is I think their first major film. They did Baghead,
right,
which was a Sony Classics release. But I think this is their first for Fox Searchlight. And so it's like their first major.
Okay, but what's it about? Yeah, all right. He's gonna read now.
Okay, well, I can wing it. I can.
No, do it. Wing it. Wing it.
It's okay. Mark and Jay Duplass, hilarious new comedy about the battle for one woman's affections, starring John C. Reilly, Jonah Hill, Catherine Keener.
See, that's the.
He's like a ne'er-do-well.
All right.
Basically, and I think from what I remember. Jonah Hill, who plays Catherine Keener's son, I'm guessing, does not thinks that John C. Reilly's character is just disreputable, so he tries to, unhinge the potential relationship.
See that I
could be wrong.
I enjoy John C. Reilly.
These things are new to us too.
I like John C. Reilly. I like Catherine Keener. I might see it. It all depends on that's a 9:30 show, so if I'm still around, I'll go. I'll sit behind you and kick your chair.
Yeah, this is that's one of the main ones I want to see for the fest.
All right, for a Thursday, I've picked LeDonc and Scorsese.
Seen it.
Okay, is it any good? Well, let me tell you why I want to see it. First of all, and for people who I think they should know that Scorsese is not the guy who directed Last Temptation of Christ. It's SCOR-ZAY-ZEE. And he's a rap prodigy. Anyway, the reasons I would go see this, 2 words, Shane Meadows. He's the director.
Yeah.
He's a British director. He did This Is England, and he did a movie with Bob Hoskins. I think it was called 24/7. I like his movies. They're gritty. They're gutsy. This is a comedy, and LeDonc was made in 5 days for £30,000. Does it look and feel like it was made in 5 days for £30,000?
It does.
In a bad way?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just not over the top hilarious. It's very subtle. And
they're my strong suit.
They are. Man, they're a couple of morons, and it is funny. He's a roadie. He's basically a roadie who.
And that's who plays the roadie? It's
Petty Considine.
Right, who's in America.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other movies. He's a very familiar face. So.
Hot Fuzz. I think he was one of the police officers in Hot Fuzz.
Yep. So that's my pick. I'm gonna give it a shot.
It's funny, man. He basically has a couple of cameras follow him through this couple of days set up to a very big festival in England, a semi-big festival in Manchester.
Yeah.
And they have this opportunity for Scorsese, who's like the worst rapist. He's a rapper, not rapist. I said rapist.
He's not a raper or a rapist.
He is the worst rapist.
All right.
So he has an opportunity to perform one song to open for the Arctic Monkeys, who make a brief appearance.
Yeah.
And this is all setting up to that. And so you have all of life's little injustices, all of the little perks you get when you're you have your all-access backstage pass. So it's the little things like that make LeDonc happy. Like seeing his all-access pass and his special parking ticket or thing that you put in your car, and he's basically a moron.
All right.
Who's really trying to make everybody else think that he's a musical prodigy,
See?
But he's.
That's where I'll be spending my Thursday night.
The other element is that just prior to this event for Scorsese, LeDonc's ex-girlfriend is having a baby, and he's received a phone call that says that she will likely, the baby's due in a couple of days. And this is all sort of like during the, as it's coming. So he doesn't know if he's going to be supporting his buddy.
No spoilers.
But I think the funniest thing of all, when he finds out he's going to be on stage performing with him, but he has to in some way justify his presence there.
Okay.
And so when there is a moment where it comes down to this decision as to like whether or not he's going to be on stage, and the other guys are like, well, all we have to do is press a button on that synthesizer, because it's just.
All right, stop.
It's not as complicated.
No, I don't
as
have to see it.
No, there's a lot more to it than that,
John.
John.
I'm still going to go.
There's a lot
I'm still going to go.
All
right, so that gets us through the second day of the festival. We're tired. We've seen, I'm sure, like half a dozen movies by now.
Yeah, people are going to love LeDonc and Scorsese. That's a good one.
All right, so Friday. What'd you pick for Friday, Steve?
For Friday, I picked Lovers of Hate.
Okay.
Which I was very surprised with.
So you already saw it?
I did.
Now you don't have to go see these things. You've already seen them.
Well, okay. The one I want to see that I have not seen is Beijing Taxi.
Right.
So, but Lovers of Hate is definitely a recommendation. That's a good one.
Who's in it?
Alex Karpovsky.
No way. Who's that?
He was in. Well, he's in another festival film I think called Bass Ackwards, and was in. Beeswax. Did you ever see Andrew Bajowski's Beeswax?
Nope.
Let me think. Woodpecker. He directed.
There's a theme here, but but that was the one that was such a hit. Was it last year?
A couple years ago.
That
Woodpecker about the.
There was a big campaign to get it at Netflix from the festival. Adam was telling people on Facebook.
Yeah, I think Adam produced that one.
Get it on, get it on Netflix. I didn't.
Well, he plays this author who is sort of he's like a Harry Potter type author, incredibly successful children's author.
Yeah.
And he has a older brother, Rudy. I forget the name of the actor who plays his brother, but he's kind of a ne'er-do-well, a real fuck-up. And there's a lot of resentment. And Rudy's life is falling apart while his brother's is basically like, as far as success goes, don't have to worry about money or anything like that. So it's sort of this like, push and pull on their relationship, and one being very successful, one being living out of his car, and there's reasons I suppose there's reasons as to inherent in their characters as to why each person lives their lives the way they choose to,
okay,
or the things that befall them, but. Rudy's ex-girlfriend kind of comes into play.
Cool.
And the movie turns into a sort of a cat and mouse game that I did not expect, and it's good.
All right.
It's good.
I will recommend people go see Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, which is a documentary by Annie Sundberg and Ricky Stern. And I had a chance to see this one in advanced screening, and I'll admit right up, I'm not a big fan of Joan Rivers. I don't think she's that funny. But I walked out of this movie with a very different opinion of her, because it's really, it gives you the whole 9 yards, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Joan Rivers. And
I'm surprised it was even a subject.
Yeah, well, her career is amazing. I didn't really know that much about her, what she's been through as far as, she had a talk show, but you don't know that she got blackballed by NBC, and Johnny Carson basically. She was the permanent sub-host.
Right. That was in the 80s.
Yeah, and then when she took her own show, Carson cut her off. She's never been back on NBC until she was just on Celebrity Apprentice.
So there is a fair amount of vindictiveness.
No, I don't think so. She's angry, but she's funny when she's angry too. Oh, Carson was bullshit with her. And the thing is, I got captured by this film from the opening shot. Joan Rivers, we all know she's like the plastic surgery, plastic surgery queen. And the film opens with a shot of her without her makeup or her makeup being put on. And it's admittedly horrifying, but fascinating. I just got a huge kick out of this movie, so I would recommend that on Friday night.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
All right.
I am. Beijing Taxi, though, that's where I will be.
Where was this on Friday?
Holy crap! I got it wrong. Wait,
no, we're not even.
Lovers of Hate is on Saturday.
All right, so so you
so Friday
the
I
time
would
warp.
have chosen Lemmy.
Lemmy. All right, I
Motorhead.
Come on, Lemmy.
Man.
That's all right. So on Friday, you're going to Lemmy.
Yeah.
Motorhead. 2 hours of
Friday at 10
Lemmy.
p.m.
I would
He's just a
definitely see
character.
that. Yeah.
Character, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really much else to say about the film. I mean, I haven't seen it,
but if you
what
know
I've
who
heard
Lemmy
of,
is, then you're going. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just no way you would miss it. So that's your Friday night pick, Lemmy.
yeah.
And on Saturday night, where were you again?
Lovers of Hate.
Lovers of Hate. All right,
Yeah,
Saturday. I talked earlier in the
schedule.
broadcast about, just taking a shot at a movie because you think it could be. It's either going to be. It's hit or miss anyway. But this is a movie that really fascinated. The idea fascinates me. It's called Colony, and it's about bees. And just the opening line of the program or the online description: American honeybees are disappearing and dying, and no one can pinpoint why. I just hope it doesn't turn into some kind of feel bad about how you ruin the world, human beings suck kind of documentary. I'm hoping it has more. It's more interesting than that. It's got the potential, I think, to be like a great Discovery Channel episode on the big screen with giant bees. It's not like Swarm, that was it 70s horror movie about killer bees and stuff like that. But one of the great things I like about festivals is the documentaries they bring in.
Yeah.
And I just pick them for subject matter, especially if it's something I know nothing about, like bees. Then I'm like, oh, see a movie about bees.
The politics of beekeeping, perhaps.
What is that?
Well, I recently listened to a NPR piece on beekeeping in New York, which obviously had gone out of favor and has come back to some extent.
Okay.
And I just was drawing a connection. I thought maybe there might be something to do with Colony, as to do with the politics of beekeeping.
Well, it says in the description it has something to do with the film also follows the Sepis, a fundamental Christian family that likens its own structure to that of the honeybee colony. That's the point where I might take a nap when that comes on. But if there's giant bees, I'm there. All right, so are we straight on what day we're on now? It's Sunday.
We're straight.
I
just looked at the wrong part of the schedule.
Okay.
And
it's Sunday morning. You're fresh from church. What are you going to go see?
Sunday morning, fresh from church. Well, the one film that I want to see on Sunday isn't. I'll probably sleep until 2. Then
go to church.
Get up until no.
All right, so you're rolling out. You're not hitting the Somerville Theater till like what?
Life 2.0, the Second Life movie about the guy who's created an avatar to replace himself.
There was a first. There was Life
2.0. I don't think there was Life 1.0. There was a movie a year or two ago that the IFFB had called Second Skin, but that was more about your Warcraft avatar.
Okay, so this guy just
Wizards of War
lives his life through an avatar.
Life 2.0. Let me see if I can find the.
It's kind of like us.
Filmmaker adopts an avatar to fully engage and explore the world of Second Life, an online community. And that did not reveal much.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated by that kind of thing about the personal effects of spending too much time on the computer, and in Second Skin's case, the adverse effects of the addiction of spending too much time as someone else or as just this alternate existence version.
Okay.
It does. You really
Those people
do.
frighten me, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to go.
What are you going to choose on Sunday?
I am going to see The Killer Inside Me with Casey Affleck and Hubba
That looks like a good
Alba.
one.
Jessica Alba plays a prostitute named Joyce. Yeah, Casey Affleck's in it too. And directed by Michael Winterbottom, who did 24-Hour Party People. And here's my favorite line in the whole description. Please note that this film contains some scenes that may upset sensitive viewers.
Oh, right. There was the discussion about that at Sundance.
So what's the scene? What am I going to see? Is it Jessica Alba, she's ugly when she's naked? Because that would upset me.
I believe, if I recall, it's a graphic sex scene.
With Jessica Alba? Why would that upset people?
It
doesn't say,
be wrong,
the film contains scenes that will make you so happy. You know, the scenes you've been waiting for your whole life. Nothing. You know, if I go there and it's violence and not sex, there's going to be a lot of talk on the following show.
So we will both be at the Somerville. You will be in Somerville 1. I will be in Somerville 2.
Right.
At that time.
I think I'm getting the better option there because it's Jessica Alba. But that's Sunday. We've spent Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days at the festival. We're a little burnt out.
My Suicide looks interesting, though. It's about,
it does, doesn't it?
It's about the kid who's writing a high school paper, and he chooses the theme of his own suicide.
Oh, man.
So,
is it a comedy?
It's
not a comedy, right?
No, it's a documentary.
Oh, God.
My Suicide, is it? I'm going to double check on that. I think it's a docu.
You know what else sounds good? And this is still on Sunday. Is Elephant in the Living Room, about a guy who, for a career, he goes around and rescues exotic pets. You know, people think, oh, it's so cute. I have a python.
No, it's a narrative. Sorry.
What is? Suicide Guy?
Yeah, My Suicide. Sorry about that. Anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
But anyway, this my Elephant in the Bedroom. It's about a guy who makes a living going around and rescuing animals. You know, people who think, tiger cubs are so cute, and then they end up with a full-grown tiger or a python, some kind of deadly animal. And he goes out and I don't know if he captures them and brings them back to the wild or puts them in some kind of a weird petting zoo. I don't know all the details, but I'm hoping to see that one. And actually, the guy who stars in it, the guy who does the animal capturing, is going to be in for the festival. So I'm hoping to meet him, maybe go out on a job with him.
What is Hipsters about?
I see, just from the title of that, I wouldn't go.
Hipsters.
It's a Russian musical. It's okay. There's something. See, that's why you go to festivals. Where else are you going to see a Russian musical outside of Russia?
Russian musical puts a bright new spin on the traditional film genre, throwing the viewer into a world that's somehow both familiar and strange.
That's pretty much Somerville. Familiar and strange.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's Sunday. Monday, movie hangover. We've seen too many films, and there's not. I think they take it easy on you on Monday. There's not a heck of a lot going on, which is why I picked going to see the short animated films. This is kind of like a guilty pleasure of festivals like this. I remember last year, this guy from, I think it was from MIT, made a short science fiction animated film that all took place, it's like this, he creates this really strange and wonderful world, and then you find out it's all like inside a drop of water. But, and it was like 3 minutes long, something like that, but it was really fun. So that's when, that's where I'll be spending my Monday, is at the short animated films. Although I'm curious about the Searching for Elliott Smith.
That is my pick for Monday.
Is it?
Yes.
Tell me, who is it?
Elliott Smith. He's was a singer-songwriter from Portland, Oregon. He, as far as I know, he killed himself maybe 7 or 8 years ago. He, or I think it was just before the release of the Royal Tenenbaums, and he had a song on the Royal Tenenbaums soundtrack.
Wasn't that bad a movie?
No.
There's no relation.
But he, was very tied into the music community in, I believe it was Portland, and very much an influence in, a number of bands like Quasi is another. Really
Quasi.
good sort of,
no.
I want to, it's funny. I'm trying to recall this, and I want to say, well, was it Seattle? I think it was Portland. But anyway, I'm not I hope to learn a good bit about him from the documentary. Harvard showed a short film, not of his, but of him, some years back. I think it was just called 3 Songs.
Okay.
And it had some scenes of him walking around, the city, talking about this stuff, and I thought it was very revealing and informative. They showed it as a sort of a short film before the screening of Nick Drake's A Skin Too Few.
No, I got nothing.
Terrific docu. So I'm hoping to learn something about Elliott Smith from this movie. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Now, here's where I reach a real stumbling block. Tuesday, there are 2 movies showing. I wouldn't want to see either one.
Really? Not
nope.
The Basquiat film? I love Basquiat.
Nope. Not a fan of the art. Not a fan of the guy. Just don't care. But again, that's probably why I should go see it, right? Because this documentary will give me insights into the man and the artist, and change my way of thinking.
I think so.
I don't.
I'm looking forward to it. I love his stuff. I'm sort of fascinated by that early '80s Lower East Side artist community that he came out of.
Right.
And so, as with searching for Elliott Smith, I'm hoping that Jean-Michel Basquiat is revealing too.
And it's over at the ICA, which is a good place to see something like this. And so is the other movie showing that night is Marwencol, Marwencol. A man deals with being savagely beaten by creating beautiful photographs of G.I. Joe and Barbie dolls to narrate his fantasy life.
Sounds
sounds
kind of Todd Haynes-ish.
Can't pay me. Yeah, superstar, right?
Yeah.
Can't pay me to go see that. In fact, well, unless there's someone out there who wants to send me a big check, then maybe I'll consider it, or wants to just go with me and buy me dinner. Otherwise, not going.
Wine me and dine me, and I will.
Yeah, wine me, dine me, and I'll sit next to you. I'm not promising I'll stay awake, but it's just the kind of movie I know I'm not going to like. Even without saying it, I can say that. Without seeing it, I can say that.
Saturday night on Wednesday.
Yes, the closing night film.
If that makes any sense, it's James Franco's behind-the-scenes look at the creation of his episode of Saturday Night Live from late last year, which screens on Wednesday, the 28th, at the Coolidge.
Right. I'm sure it's in the big house at the Coolidge.
I would think so.
Is Franco coming in, do you know?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I had wondered about that.
Yeah, I
for the last couple of years, I think they had. Did Robin Williams come in for World's Greatest Dad?
No,
that was Bobcat Goldthwait,
who was just so much fun.
I heard about that screening quite a bit afterwards. Didn't you go? Went to the party. There's parties going on.
Okay. So you're the social butterfly of the post-movie podcast.
Well, we were, you do parties because you get to, meet the filmmakers, and there's opportunities for interviews, and it's...
Pass out your resume, your 8x10, your
right.
headshot.
Right.
So then that's it. Tuesday night, or is it Wednesday night? Wednesday night the 28th. It's over. Festival's done.
John, let's talk about the films you've seen. Which ones have we've seen? Cairo Time, and you're looking at me like, don't bring up Cairo Time. That up. You have to tell people about Cairo Time.
No.
You have to.
No, I'm not sure I stayed awake through the whole thing.
You can recommend a movie, but you
then
also
I would recommend of the 3 I've seen so far. I would only recommend the Joan Rivers. I would not recommend Cairo Time, except for a cure for not being able to sleep.
I'm going to go ahead and or go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what was the other movie? Oh, Cracks.
Cracks, yeah.
Cracks.
Okay, well, here I'm going to go ahead and say Cairo Time was, it was really lacking in any tension. That's for sure. It was really. It was Patricia Clarkson floats through this movie, but then this is not a movie that was made for me, it's not a movie that was made for you. It's a movie that's made for, older women. Not old women, but, women in their 40s. They've had kids. There's a market. They want to have a pleasant time. There's a little bit of a danger in, going to Cairo in a place that is obviously in its spots is very discriminatory to women. But it is in a way like a travelogue. And Patricia Clarkson, who I admittedly like, she floats through this movie. She's hot. She floats through this movie. It's she has, I think, the tension, if there is any, comes from the fact that she is, I guess I can say, smitten with Alexander Siddig's character. He plays sort of a guide.
Right.
I mean, he is kind of her lifeline to,
Cairo.
To Cairo, to basically having a nice, safe time in Cairo. She's a magazine editor, writer on vacation.
Her husband's some kind of UN.
He
works at the UN.
He was held up in Gaza.
Yeah, there's some kind of troubles. They were supposed to meet there for a vacation. She shows up. He can't get there, and so his ex-coworker, who now runs a coffee shop, acts as her guide. Tarek acts as her guide to stand in front of a lot of postcard imagery.
Standing in front of a lot of...
Yeah. It's like, they could have done this like Wayne's World, We're in Delaware. We're in Egypt.
Playing some golf, having some tea, drinking some coffee.
Yeah.
Hanging out around the hotel.
Puffing on the hookah. It
is not pleasant. But I'm telling you, if anybody does not even find the slightest just bit of interest in either of these characters, you're going to fall asleep just like the girl behind me did.
And I am not the girl behind him, in case you think that's some kind of coded
And when
message.
I said slightest bit of interest in the character, John was waving his hand like, me. No interest.
Well, the only tension I felt in this whole movie was trying to decide whether I was going to leave or not. And that's not part of the movie. That's just me. Yeah, maybe it does have a market. It wasn't... There's nothing you could point at, or nothing I could point at to say, this is bad. But this was dull to me.
Okay, dull.
And that's...
Dull,
but that's,
dull
again, it's... And, yeah, she does float through the movie, and she's too good an actress to float through a movie
and
like
the
this.
movie is... It has photographically a lot of texture, a lot of color, and there's a certain warmth to it. And I liked the music, the piano score. Niall Byrne, the Irish composer, did a terrific job there. But yeah, I can totally see why you would see this as being dull. I mean, it is there is at the opposite of the spectrum here is 24. So it's two completely, there's no, this is not edited in any way whatsoever to cause tension or speed things up or,
nope.
It is not, this is a movie without a mission. You're just existing.
It unfolds like a lovely desert flower before your eyes. Yeah. And then I actually had as much trouble with cracks.
Again, I had more interest in that than you.
There was nudity, so I was a little interested in some scenes.
Well, they say some movies are slow burn, but this was a frickin'
no burn.
It was a no burn, man. Oh my God! But
Did you feel a sexual tension?
That is really, it does get to a point that is really fucked up. There's a moment in this movie that is like, holy shit. But and then again, the movie has this whole aura of tragedy. You know that something's going to happen. I had a lot of empathy for the girls who were on this swim team. It takes place in the 1930s.
Right, and it's at an all-girls school
off of England.
There's hints of
and you want things
unrequited lesbian love.
Yeah, that comes on later in the...
Yeah. Well, that comes out from the first. The minute you see it's an all-girls school, they like let you know, ooh, there's going to be some lesbianism coming up.
I missed the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, they have a big lesbian dance number that's topless, and it's just...
Right.
See, so if you're going to go, don't miss the first 5 minutes.
Typical.
And then write in to say, oh, I'm such a liar because it didn't happen. But
well, I did get involved with the characters. I was, I wanted, they live in sort of a, very protected world. And their swimming instructor is, she
Psycho?
Yeah, psycho. And she didn't so much dispense advice or tell them how to swim as much as she was giving him the whole theory about how to be great.
Yeah,
and the best. And
it was the most.
It was more like a rev you up.
Oh, that was obnoxious
thing as opposed to the science of diving.
They try to make it kind of like a Lord of the Flies and bras and panties, because we know these girls are going to team up and attack the outsider, which they do.
And yeah, they do.
And
they do. I was surprised that the alpha girl, the one that kind of led the girls that were there.
Call her Alpha Girl. Everyone will know who she is as soon as they start watching
the leader of the swim team girls. It was Juno Temple. She was Michael Cera's girlfriend that he was trying to woo in year 1.
Really?
Yeah, just go over there, hit her on the head with a rock.
I think they did, and that's why.
She'll lay with you. So he tries hitting her on the head with a rock.
Wow.
And he's like, ow!
Quoting year 1. and we can't edit that out?
Yeah. Well, this is... As Cairo Time was bright, it was sort of airy. It had a lot of space. It was sort of a positive movie. This, on the other hand, is a darkly photographed film.
Yeah,
it has a brooding mood to it that kind of, as you get towards the end, and the girls kind of get all, they get all hyped up. Towards just like they want things to be the way they were, and this girl who is the lead, the Russian girl.
Was she Russian? I thought she was French.
I forget her name. Femia?
Anyway,
she is very much resented by the other girls in the group, because she's
pretty, she's rich.
She's pretty, she has a life, she's rich,
she has asthma.
She's not happy.
Oh, I wonder what'll happen. I wonder what'll happen if they give the lead victim asthma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone's... And it's
she's
like...
She's a Spanish girl.
Right, but it's 1930 asthma, so it's like... It looks like she's got a tiny little bagpipe bellows around her neck that she has to squeeze. And, do you think something bad's going to happen?
It's an interesting character play about, jealousies and resentments. And the school believes they're raising girls in a proper manner. And, naturally, people they're going to rebel in the small ways that they can. So it makes one wonder about the harms of a very secluded private school.
And that just confirms my fantasy that there is rampant lesbianism in those institutions.
Directed by...
Yeah. Oh, here's
Jordan Scott, Ridley Scott's daughter.
Here's the funny thing for listeners. One of the funny things is that I just poo-pooed Cairo Time and Cracks as being complete waste of time.
And I want to say that I'm sure that those schools are fine educational institutions.
They are. They're fine. They're fine institutions.
Absolutely.
But here's the funny part. Yeah. I just poo-pooed both those movies. I'll be interviewing both their directors a week from tomorrow on the 25th, 22nd, whatever it is, Friday. So I'm going to sit down with these women, and I guarantee you they'll walk away thinking, not having any clue how much I didn't like their movies. I try to make sure in interviews that it never really comes up. I'm not there to tell them.
What are the good things you're going to focus on? What are the good things about those films you'll try to focus on?
I mean, how much? Like, if you were the director, what would I say?
We see tons of bad movies. Yep. I'm not saying that, we have sort of a different opinion on Cairo Time and Cracks, and I agree with you on Cairo Time. I would not see that again. But
yes,
the movie
you would.
is not.
And I know why you would see it again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Patricia Clarkson movie.
Okay. It's we see hundreds and hundreds of movies, and in order to keep on doing this without getting jaded, is you have to focus on these things in these movies that make you happy. There's shit. You know what I mean? And you can look at it very clinically and say, this happened, this happened, this hasn't happened. So I can't like this. But in any bad movie, there's got to be something that you've found or you can see that is redemptive or fun or that was neat.
I disagree.
And specifically, like in Cracks, I liked the way it was photographed. I liked the way that it was kind of like texturally dark. I liked how they brought the old swimming, the diving platforms and the changing rooms. And to me, that kind of reminded me of when I was at the beach as a kid, or when I was at
at girls' school.
I didn't go to private school. No, but it did that kind of brought back like a childhood memory kind of thing.
Right.
About being out on all those wooden edifices and the slight terror of the water and the floating platforms and things like that. And I thought that was neat. Also, I kind of enjoyed the metaphor of the water, because when these girls were really connecting with themselves, they were having deep conversations, but they were all sort of doing it on a couple of occasions while all in the water, all submerged. So, water as a metaphor is both like immersive, and it's also, like in the case of like The Graduate, it also shows how distant you are from someone, how shut off from the rest of the world.
Yikes.
So she used
Are you sure we saw the same
metaphor.
movie?
Well, you look for different things in movies.
We all know what I'm looking
well,
for.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Like, take, for example, Cairo Time. There's a metaphor of the elevator. When she goes back to the hotel, there are scenes in this movie where she is behind the elevator and the door slowly closes. And as the elevator door starts to close, then you see the words that they're not saying, the expressions on her face, how this thing is going to slowly close and separate them. Happens twice. And each time she has a different reaction, and he has a different reaction as this is what's going to come between them. But in this
elevator.
particular type of elevator, it's not a dual door closing elevator. It's an elevator that slowly slides one way. Mm-hmm. And the second time it happens, it's kind of a funny moment, because they had just kissed.
Right.
And obviously she's a married woman. She's just kind of inadvertently or just toyed with something she shouldn't have. So it was sort of forbidden kind of thing. But the elevator door kind of represented this separation that was slowly happening. Mm-hmm. And I think, the director, she intended that. So, okay, so there's another reason.
Right.
So now it's your turn.
I got nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Not the pyramids, not the...
No, I didn't find any symbolism. I didn't see anything. But again, I wasn't looking for it because I was bored. Maybe I should have looked for, other things. But when I talk to the directors, I will just get them to talk about their movie.
Okay.
And stay the heck out of it. And usually that works. It's only twice in my, and I've been doing this for decades, decades. Only twice in my career can I remember directors looking at me directly and asking me what I thought about their movie. And both times they were shitty movies. And I told Stephen Baldwin it was a shitty movie, and then he ignored me for the next half hour. Yeah. And then I told the guy who did Boondock Saints 2, Troy Duffy. When they came in for press, the first thing he says is, "What do you think about my movie?" And I said, "Well, it's better than the first one." It wasn't really a lie. I didn't like the first one either, but...
With Troy Duffy, do you think you were kind of walking the edge? Because, having seen...
That documentary about him?
Overnight,
yeah.
You'd think that he'd have a little bit of a temper issue?
Oh, I'm sure he had a temper issue. He caught me by surprise. I don't expect people to come in and, stare at me, and say, "What'd you think of my movie?" And he seemed happy to think that I, with my answer. Mm-hmm. And then the next half hours were just a nightmare.
So you're going to see Orgasm Inc.
You just get the screener.
Yeah, I got to watch that, and it's a fine film.
Okay.
It's about the marketing of the female orgasm, and
say that again.
The rise of Viagra and the.
Is that a joke? The rise of Viagra. I've got a million of them, people.
How do you market and sell this kind of thing? And it's a fascinating film, and it's actually made locally.
Did they talk about? I mean, the marketing for Viagra has been pretty silly. Dick Buckus throwing a football through a tire.
Yeah, they do have. In fact, they have one of the first Viagra commercials is shown, and it's shown because it represents something of a victory. So it has like men running out of the houses and playing around with the sprinklers and the lawnmowers, all in like their slow motion sports victory poses. Like, I've been saved.
Yeah, everything's right with the world. We can't cure cancer, we can't stop war, but I have an erection that can last 4 hours.
And there is a long history of female sexual dysfunction that hasn't been addressed and dealt with seriously. And so that's one of the issues here. There's a number of companies that are trying to get FDA approval, and they have to jump through certain hoops in order to be able to do that. And so there's politics involved.
Did you learn anything
involved?
Did you learn anything about the female sexuality watching this movie?
About female sexuality?
Yeah.
Well,
or
is
it primarily
about the different types of porn that women prefer to?
No, not. But
they do these in order to they're trying to get these drugs to go to trial for the FDA,
right?
And they have to do certain types of studies, and some of these studies involve porn. So the lady who made the film, Elizabeth Canner, was involved in the editing of the
porn
scenes that women would use to, because what turns a woman on, doesn't necessarily turn a man on. It's a different way. There's a different approach to it. And so that's kind of it. That thing was sort of a reason why she got involved in making the documentary.
Right.
Is, that's what sort of led into it, was from the porn aspect. And then also the idea that there's a lot of women who are afraid to talk about it. I mean, these aren't it's not like a bunch of models. This isn't like they're throwing incredibly attractive women at you. This is it's a documentary with just middle-aged women that want to feel satisfied just like anyone else, but they're afraid to talk about it because there's such a
taboo,
sort of a cultural taboo involved.
Yeah.
And that works its way into the marketing of the drug or the FDA approval of this.
I'll watch it in the quiet of my own home,
I believe. And I'm trying to look up as to when it's playing at the festival. I don't see the...
what's it called? Orgasm
Inc. When's it playing? It is playing...
Sunday, the 25th at 5 p.m. in Somerville.
Oh, that reminds me. Another one I definitely want to see on Sunday is Strange Powers, the Stephen Merritt Magnetic Fields documentary. Rare opportunity to become acquainted with the cantankerous musician and writer Stephen Merritt.
Is he familiar with his work? Is he cantankerous?
I'm only partly familiar with magnetic fields, but what I've heard, I've liked, and it's one of those things that I know this band has a canon, a backlog of stuff that has yet to be discovered by me. And this movie, I hope that it will, just like the Elliott Smith and Lemony, reveal.
Right.
It will do its job.
Cool. Well, I think that's about it, right? Festival talk.
And you don't want to see Basquiat?
No, not going.
Oh man! All right.
You probably see me there because I'm, unless there's something else going on Monday night, I'll give it a shot. But it's not something I'm looking forward to. The same way, if a choice between Basquiat and the movie about the G.I. Joe and Barbie dolls, I'm at Basquiat.
Did you?
I don't want to haul my ass over to the ICA either for something like that.
That was kind of a hike last year. They had Gerald Peary's movie, I think, closed the festival.
Joe Perry?
Jerry Peary.
Oh, about film critics?
For the love of movies.
Yeah.
And I screwed it up. I didn't get there in time, but I got there to at least hang out afterwards. But I missed the movie. Still haven't seen it.
No,
really
me neither.
Did you go? You were at last year's festival or the year before?
Yeah, I went last year. Last year it was the first time I had press credentials, which are so cool. I just love the idea that you can flash your badge and get into whatever strikes your fancy.
That's nice.
And
nice
I had a one-on-one with Bobcat Goldthwait, which was a blast.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he got
a lot of good feedback from.
Did you see the movie he did about the girl and the dog?
I don't recall.
Yeah, you would if you'd seen it. Trust me.
I don't recall. But you got me thinking though about seeing those short films. I really got to put that on my schedule.
Short films are fun. The thing I like about short films is that they are short. So if you're stuck watching a shitty movie, it's over in 5 minutes. Something else pops up, and usually the organizers do a pretty good job of clumping them together so they're
at least have some sort of
there's something, a theme, or it's mixed up enough so if again you're stuck watching something really bad.
Come to think of it, there was another one I wanted to see, the Parking Lot movie. That's a Friday at 9:45 at the Brattle. And it's not just a parking lot; it's a battle with humanity. The doc explores lessons learned by those who work in parking lots. Okay. Now there's some closely set politics, I'm sure, and I definitely want to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, like I said, Saturday night and Cyrus.
Okay. All right. Well, let's let the people go.
Oh, and you know, I think I'd also I'd like to quickly mention the midnight film on. I think it's the midnight film on Friday, which is the good, the bad, the weird.
Yeah, you watched
Korean
that.
I got a half hour into it last night, and I had to stop. So I've only seen a half hour of it, but it's.
Why'd you have to stop?
It's a fun film. It's a South Korean Western.
Okay.
Where this marauder bandito is about to, he's kind of like he doesn't really have any morals. So just he needs to get what he wants. He wants money. He'll shoot whoever he pleases to whatever to get it. And so they're basically half hour in. They're after this map that leads to a very valuable treasure, and a fair portion of the movie takes on place on this train, which is really cool. I mean, the makers of this movie took a lot of time to make every aspect of the good, the bad, the weird cool. I mean, they could add the cool at the end of this because everything about it is so, just mathematically precisely cool. The bad guys, the good guys, everybody's got a little, character hitch or glitch or
in the first half hour.
In the first half hour.
Well, it's also playing Monday night at 9:30. I think I'll do that because I'm not much for midnight movies. I fall asleep. I'm old.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to this year's fest. It's gonna it's gonna be good.
And the thing we should tell people, we're gonna go all out with coverage at the festival. We're gonna be posting interviews. We're gonna be posting blogs, and we're looking for feedback from people. If anyone does really seriously want to buy me coffee or dinner,
you may need it.
Email what's the email?
postmoviepodcast@gmail.com. And as always, check out the website at post-movie.net. And we're also on Facebook. We've got 400 Facebook fans now.
Excellent. Did you see the South? Did you see the South?
400.
Did you see the South Park about Facebook?
No.
Fucking hilarious.
No.
Just hilarious.
Note taken.
Yeah. So anyway, let's sign off. Let's go to the movies. I have to go see something tonight.
You will be hearing from us very soon. So we'll see what
check out the site during the festival, and feel free to send an email. Say, hey, we're going to see Basquiat. We're going to go see the Joan Rivers movie. We're going to go see
Harmony and Me.
Right. We're going to go see
Putty Hill.
We're going to go see
Perrier's Bounty.
We're going to go see
I Am Love. That's on Saturday.
Right.
And then Drones also on Saturday.
Or you're gonna go see Cairo Time or Crack and want to fight me afterwards.
Soul Kitchen on Saturday.
Soul Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, I'm
taking the mic. Trying to save his Greek restaurant.
I'm going to take the microphone away from you now. I'm going to sign off.
Until next time, very soon, as the Boston Independent Film Festival starts, and we're getting psyched for it. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And it's the Post Movie Podcast. Adios.